Hello, everyone. My name is Christopher Liam Rose. I'm an author, mentor, life coach, motivational speaker, evangelist, musician, and activist. Today and this evening is a very important evening for me today. I'm going to be creating a whole new album, which this is probably be the most important album I've created today. It's basically the most meaningful, purposeful, important album that I will be creating. Um, Before I get into creating the album itself, I want to explain the importance of it. So, for about, I would say, since I was like 24, I've always had a relationship with Jesus Christ, Jehovah, and Buddha in my faith, spirituality, faith, and religion. And I've developed that over the years since I was 24. Um, as I was going through like life experiences, challenges, difficulties, and struggles within my life, I realized that I needed faith, spirituality, faith, and religion to help me get through it. So that's what makes my spiritual music very important to me. I've always like been a musician throughout my career in music and arts. I first was a rapper, then a music producer, and now just a musician that's also does rap music and also produces music. But why this is so important and I want to make this track the very beginning of this new album is because my relationship with Jehovah is so important to me. And, I can't sort of do what I do without Jehovah's presence in my life, also Jesus Christ and Buddha within my life. So this is when things get important for me because for a long time I've been doing spiritual music. I think I've released over, I don't know, 100 to maybe 200 to 300 albums within my time. But this album basically tops all the albums I've ever produced. And I've produced a lot of music in my time. I've always been artistic and I've always been creative. But this album is just so significant. It'll basically mean the most to me to produce this album and actually create the album. So this album is called Jehovah, Jesus Christ, and Buddha. So for my faith, my spirituality, my faith and religion, this is an album dedicated to Jehovah, Jesus Christ, and Buddha. And my relationship in my faith, spirituality, faith, and religion. Because the first track of the album is called Jehovah, the Lord God of all creation, I want to make this track the most important for the album. And normally, when I produce music, I have a certain workflow that I do. So I want to just focus on the production, focus on the music, and focus on producing it to the best of my ability right now. And I think it's important that I create music of a spiritual essence to it. So this album is going to be very, very spiritual, very, very important. Spirituality, faith, religion will be a part of this album. And the importance for me is the meaning and the value that it brings, not just to myself for creating the album, but also to the people that listen to the album if they choose to listen to it. I want the essence of Jehovah, Jesus Christ, and Buddha to be all over this album, and I want to try to produce it to the best of my ability, which I'm basically going to try and do for this evening and for today. Jehovah is the Lord God of all creation. So Jehovah is what we call God in faith and spirituality and religion. Jehovah has blessed me tremendously throughout my life in a spiritual blessing way. I never thought I would be able to do spiritual music like this or get an opportunity this significant within my life. It's a very sort of significant part of my life this album will be. This is sort of also my legacy that I'm leaving behind as well with this album because I've always had that faith, spirituality, faith, and religion as part of my learning and understanding. And Christianity and Buddhism, spirituality is very important to me. So I just wanted to say that from the very beginning before I even start producing this track. So how I've been normally producing new music and new tracks is normally an intro, then a long verse, and then an outro. So first we're going to produce the intro first. And this is probably the most important track on the album because for the Lord God of all creation, Jehovah. So let's begin. So first we're going to produce the intro now. Okay, so we've done the intro, so I'm just going to add it onto the playlist. I'm just going to name it as well. So, intro. So, I'm just going to color intro. So, I'm going to add it onto the playlist. Oh, sorry. State. Yeah, I have been doing that. That's fine. So next, I'm going to do the verse drums. No. Okay, so we've done the verse drums, so we're gonna add it to playlist. So just gonna add it to playlist now. I normally do it up until 64, 66, depending on how long the melody is. So let's just do 66. Okay. Next, I'm going to do the verse melody. For the melody, we're gonna have a long melody. So I'm gonna create a long melody. So let's do it. Should no. Now that we've done the chords, we're going to add in some more notes to the melody now. Oops. Just going to shorten the notes. Okay, so we've done the melody, so I'm going to add it onto playlist now. So just going to copy the melody onto playlist. So we've done a longer melody. 64, okay. Okay. So next we're going to do the verse bass. So I'm just gonna, I normally highlight the bass notes from the melody, so that's what we're gonna do. So I'm just gonna add the notes along the melody, so just highlight the notes. So let's just do that. It's a bit lower. Okay, so we're gonna cut the bass notes and add it into its own pattern. So I'm just gonna add it into its own pattern now. I'm gonna add the bass onto playlists. So next we're gonna do the verse piano. So I'm just gonna add in some chords onto the melody, so as extra instruments. So that's what we're gonna do. So let's see what we can do. So let's hear the melody again. So sorry, I used the org, so I forgot I used that instrument. So we're gonna make the notes slower. Just gonna shorten the notes. Okay, I'm just gonna change the piano notes. So let's just do that quickly. I want piano keys. I thought the org would be better, but I'm going to change it to grand piano. So let's just do that. Just going to leave it up. So let's move it. And now we're going to use the piano. I thought the org would be fine, but it's okay. Sometimes you have to change instruments as you produce. So just going to use the piano keys now. So let's try, see if we can make a chord out of it. I'm just gonna hear it now. Okay, so I'm gonna add the piano notes into its own pattern. I might actually add another instrument onto the actual beat as well. Just going to add it onto some pattern now. So let's just see now. Hold on. So piano. Just gonna paste it in. Yeah, copy it onto playlist and lower the piano notes. I don't want the piano to override the melody, so I always lower the piano notes. So just going to lower it quickly. I'm going to add just one more instrument into, well, I should say vocal into the beat. So I'm just going to find that. Came to my mind as I was producing this track. So I'm just going to add a core to the beat. So let's just start. Okay, so just this will be the verse core. Okay. So I'm only gonna add a few notes. So I don't want it to be too many because we already got the vocals for the beat. So I just want to add a few notes into the melody. So let's just do that. So want to be C5. A bit higher. Let's make it higher. Yes. So I'm just going to play the chords. Let's just make it shorter. Just trying to find the right notes. Alright, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to add the R notes onto its own pattern and I'm going to lower it. I don't want it to override the melody, so I'm just going to lower it. Let's just make it a bit more low. I want it in the track, but I don't want it to be too loud, so just try and make it a bit more lower. Then I'm going to add it onto the playlist. And then we're going to do the outro. For the outro, I think we're just going to do piano, and I may just do a chord progression for the piano. So let's just see now. So the piano outro. Let's see. I'm going to use the keys, so the piano keys, and make a chord progression. So let's do major. make it here. Let's just make it a sure. So yeah. We're just gonna hear the piano, the chord progression. I'm gonna do it up until about 5. And then I might add some notes just on top of it. Let's just hear it. To be sure. Okay. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna shorten the notes. So just gonna copy it and then make a chord progression. But we're gonna do it up until 5. So just making the chord progression. Um, all right, so let's hear it now. I might add some drums to it. Just let me just see. I'm gonna add some more notes to it. So let's hear it now. Okay, so I'm thinking, should I add some drums? I'm gonna add some drums to it, but not many drums, just like a kick drum and a few hi-hats. So I'm just gonna add that onto it. Okay, no, I don't need to duplicate it. So just gonna add the kick drums to it now. I'm gonna add some hi-hats to it. So I'm just gonna so that should be fine. Yeah. Yeah. Don't want it too many. Yes. So I've added the outro onto the playlist already. Just thinking if I should duplicate it. Okay, I'm gonna duplicate it. Normally I wouldn't, but just because it's a piano, it's a more subtle sound. I'm just gonna duplicate it. So okay, so we've done the main part of the beat so far. So we've done the intro, the long vocal, and the outro. So I'm saving as I'm going along. So just gonna make sure everything's saved. So what we're gonna do now, we're gonna add in the vocals to the track. So I normally do the vocals separate from the actual beat itself. The reason why I do that is because I try to put a lot of vocals into the beats that I make. So I always separate them out from the vocal. I used to put the vocals into the beat itself. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But with the vocals that I have for the actual track, I normally separate it. It's just something I've been doing in my music for a number of years now. So with the Jehovah vocal, we're going to add on every third bar. So let's just do that. So I'm just going to copy it as well. Okay, so just going to add it. So actually, let me just paste it in. So I normally count as I go along. So I know I'm putting on every third bar. So two, 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 two. Yeah. So I'm still counting as I'm going along, just to make sure I'm adding the vocals in every third bar. So this will be the first vocal. Okay. Okay, so the next vocal we're gonna do is spiritual change vocal. This is something I add in my beats all the time, so I'm just gonna add it into just before the Jehovah vocal. So um, okay. Also, as well, when you're doing when you're layering vocals onto the beat, you want to make sure it's separate in a different like bar pattern, or it'll be clashing with each other. So always separate it on another line. So never upload vocals onto the same line itself, because it gets a bit complicated when you do that. So I choose not to do that when I produce. So always separate it into a different line. And if I need to edit it, I can also edit it as well. So I try to do that with all the beats that I make. So um, okay, so I'm just gonna edit just before, and then we've got the final vocal. Um, So final vocal is My Life is Like a Story. And like I said to you before, this is gonna be a very important track for me to produce. So the reason why I put My Life is Like a Vocal, Life is Like a Story vocal onto my beats is that it's like a continuation of my music and my brand. So, this album's for Jehovah, Jesus Christ, and Buddha. And My Life is Like a Story is just like my brand of separating my beats from other people's beats. So that's why I put it in my beats that I produce, sort of like my legacy within the music that I create. So people know it's from me. So that's why I normally put My Life is Like a Story vocals in. So we're just going to put it in any space that we can see on the grid. So let's just do that. Like I said to you before, I don't add the vocals in on the same line. So you can see as I'm like just uploading the vocals, it's all separated. So that's quite important when you produce. You never want to add the vocals all on the same line, because you wouldn't know which vocal would be important for your production or which is the correct vocal. That's why if you separate it, if you need to remove one or change it, it's more easier to do that. So that's why I always try to do that when I produce. So I always try to. It's quite an important part of my production, so I always have to do that. And then I'm just gonna continue, and then I think we're done after that. I think we've completed the track, so just added in the vocals now. So okay, cool. So I'm just gonna save it there. So the track is done now. We've completed the track. This is the first track for the album Jehovah, Jesus Christ, and Buddha. I did say it'll be a very important track to produce, and I wanted to try and do my best on it. So what we've done an intro, we've done a long verse, we've done an outro. So I'm gonna play each part of the track of the beat and just listen to it. And if I need to make any changes as I'm listening to it, I can do that. But I think we've completed. So I'm just gonna play each part. So first the intro. So we're just gonna put it onto song mode, and then let's play it.
My life is like a story. Spiritual change. Jehovah. My life is like a story.
Okay, so we've played the intro, so let's play the verse.
My life is like a story. Spiritual change. Jehovah. My life is like a story. Spiritual change. Jehovah. My life is like a story. Spiritual change. Jehovah. My life is like a story. Spiritual change. Jehovah.
Okay, next we're going to do the outro now.
My life is like a story. Spiritual change. Jehovah. My life is like a story. Spiritual change.
Okay, so the track is done now. So I'm just gonna save the project and save the MP3 file and also the project sounds and data. So normally I save the project itself first. So let's just do that. I've already created a file for it, so I'm just gonna save it. Okay, so we've saved the project. Now we're gonna save the MP3 file. So I've already created a folder for the album. So